Hey everybody, welcome to episode 102 of the Bonehead podcast, where we talk all things Blood Bowl. Welcome back. I'm Ben, and once again I'm joined by Blood Tithe Ben. BT, how are you today?
Hello, doing very well, thank you.
Always good to wave on an audio medium.
Yeah, that's true.
Good. Ben waves. And we've also joined by our 3D printing correspondent and essentially permanent program manager now, Ian. How you doing, Trips?
I'm very good. Cheers, both.
I was talking to Peter in Toyman about you today, actually, Trips. Like with the tournaments and stuff. And he was saying how well you guys all did. And I was like, yeah, we got Trips, who's just basically controls us. Keeps us under wraps. Which I think
just like Uber timekeeper.
Yeah. All the planning, it's so good. It's so good. Anyway, BT, what are we talking about today on the podcast?
Short and simple, Amazons, they're finally here. We can actually talk about them.
We can.
It's not episode 100 either.
I know. Hey, it should have been like episode 97 when it came out, when the information came out.
Yeah, it should have been.
But, you know, it's landed. We've got the spike, and we can talk through the roster. We can actually have a look at the spike. We can have a look at the models. And we can definitely talk about these strength 4 blocker people. Because...
Four.
In inverted strength 4. I am quite surprised by them, actually. But yes, it is kind of the Amazon special, but naturally, well, normally we do Blood Bowl news, but actually we're going to focus news-wise on Amazons today, so I think it's appropriate that we have a little bit of hobby before we get to the really good stuff. Okay, so hobby, let's talk games, things bought, things acquired, things painted, things filmed. I feel like we've had quite a lot of Blood Bowl recently. I mean, I know Trips has, bless him. We booked him every night this week, which is pretty cool. I've had my Entoyment game, which was very cool. So I got to troop over to Entoyment earlier this week. No, late last week, and it was packed. It was a Thursday evening. Went over for the Thursday evening game. I was playing against Dan Maskell, Gerger, who comes to all of our tournaments. Nice. So we know Dan. We know his quality. So when I got drawn against him with his Dark Elves, which he plays exclusively in tournaments,
yeah,
I was like, okay, that's going to be a tough game. And then the whole place was absolutely packed. It was so good. There was such a good vibe. I was having a wonderful time, and it was a really interesting game. So he chose to receive. No, he chose to kick. No, he chose to receive. So anyway, it was just like he scored, I scored, and then I managed to score a defensive touchdown. Then I scored another defensive touchdown, and then he scored at turn 16. It was a bit of a shootout. No serious injuries, I don't think. I've got like a lineman out because it's Skaven. I'm running the 4 gutter runner build because I figured, you know, we ran the Roger build in the championship, didn't we? So I thought it would be a good thing to bust out the proper Skaven build, Ben.
Hey, well, I mean, at least we didn't have a rat ogre dying on the first game to have to pay off. So yeah,
that's quite a disability, I think.
Yeah.
Definitely. And yeah, bit of a shootout. It was a good one. I thought I was going to go and sort of start losing nice and early on, but actually escaped it, which was pretty good. You guys got any games in this week?
For me, yeah, I've got a few. Managed to get a couple more league games in. Didn't go quite so well. Went up against Greenskin Phil and his Orcs, and he absolutely demolished my Skaven. He went in thinking just like, this will be a quick one, this will be over. And I essentially fumbled my pickup with sure hands, which I haven't done yet, so I forgot that's a thing. And I didn't protect the ball. I kind of went all in, which is the way I've been playing exclusively with Skaven at the moment. And and it really punished me, and he managed to just like swamp me, and the momentum just shattered, and it was really hard to pick up from there. He killed, I think, 3 players that game.
What,
Like,
actually killed them?
Killed my thrower, my star thrower. He's dead. A journeyman died, and I think another line rat died. Gutter missing next game, so the movement busted star Gutter with like 40 SPP. He's now also strength busted, so his movement 8, strength 1.
Just turbo snotlings. That's amazing.
Yeah, he has blodge 2 heads, so he's still got his uses. He's basically just a super nobbler at the moment.
That's a really tough one because like he's due a firing, but with all those agility skills, he's still got a massive use, isn't he?
Yeah, I think now he's like exclusive. Where normally I'd give him the ball and just run him. I think now I've got another blodge gutter. He's going to be the backup plan. Where if things are looking really tight, he can do it because he can just dodge into tackle zones. So that's been interesting. And then I played against Rich Saxby with my busted team against his humans, and that was a brutal game. We did speedball, so we limited it to 3-minute turns, ended up being like 1.5 turns. By 25 minutes in, it was like 2-1. And it was just nuts. Like, it was just basically his thrower to his catcher, score. My thrower, my not thrower, my gutter runner, handing off to another gutter runner to score. And it was just like back and forth. And it ended up being 3-2, I think, to him. It was really tight, really, really tight. It could have been either way. It was kind of like a failed dodge, like a failed 2+ with the reroll did it.
Well, you see, this is the thing.
So...
I was expecting you to win a game so you could reclaim your place at the top of the league, Ben. So that because I think I'm 4th in the league. No, you're 4th in the league.
No, I'm 4th. You're
3rd?
Second.
Second?
Oh no, I think you're 3rd.
Yeah, you're 3rd, Ben. T'other Ben, you're 4th. Even though you should point out in your game with Rich, between you did get 40 SBP.
That is true. Yeah, we did get a lot. There's a lot of blood, a lot of passing.
Outrageous, isn't it?
Yeah,
that is outrageous. Just going to check in on chat. I would prefer Dauntless to Strength 4. Yeah, that's a fair one. Love a non-rogue build. Full zoom. Yeah, exactly. Love me some Orcs versus Skaven. Absolutely. So, Trips, you've got at least a couple of games in.
Yeah, so I managed to get my first Employment League game in last Wednesday, and it was also absolutely rammed with just about every type of game under the sun. I had the joy of I've taken High Elves in the league, which is the first time I've played High Elves. But I was lucky enough to come up against Black Orcs in game 1. A lovely player named Adam, who I knew I was in a little bit of trouble to start off with when he was pulling up Bonehead podcast lineups to line his team up. That was definitely a bit of a worry. I received the ball. I decided to go full in on let's see if the passing meta really is broken meta. I managed to get 5 completions in the whole game, and that was with only having the ball for about 6 turns in total. I ended up winning that one 2-1 and out casualtying the Black Orcs, which I'm pretty pleased with that.
Crazy. Did you target his goblins then?
I went after a goblin and I managed to tease a Black Orc over to the sideline to then be ganged up on by elves who were very happy to push a Black Orc off. I think he got an armor busted Black Orc out of that. Took away the 2-1 win, but he did manage to complete the troll full set of skills. So we had the troll vomit, the troll eat, a goblin. The troll managed to then smash one of my players, and last but not least, the troll threw a goblin picked up an SPP, and the goblin ran in for a touchdown as well. So
Nice.
an absolute full set with the occasional bit of stupidity just to really wrap off the troll experience.
See, I'm a little bit torn
very
here
happy.
because I've got a favoritism towards you, absolutely. But now I've been playing the Black Orcs, I've got such a gleam when I hear someone's running Black Orcs. I'm like, yeah, get them. Use that grab spam, just absolutely pound them into the dirt.
It was a bit like that. It was quite nice when 2 Black Orcs went off in the second half, and I still had a full set of 11. So at that point I was loving the 2+ dodgers. So managed to get out of the game with no injuries and some skill up. So looking forward to my next game next week, and I can't remember who I've got for Love Nor Money. I'll just look it up.
I think I've got Joe Solo with his Tomb Kings next.
Oh, really?
You do? Yeah, you've got Tomb Kings next week, and I've got an Ogre team next week. Lovely.
That could cost you a couple of elves.
Yes. That's an Ogre team with 5 ogres and a runt punter.
Ooh,
and they went Noblars as well.
They went full on. That's brilliant. I think the 4/4 build for ogres is the kind of better all round point. But if you can do it with 5,
4 reroll.
Yeah, 4 reroll 4 ogres. But you can do it with 5 and 2, which is brave, I think. But if you're competent and confident with them, it's all right. You are saving a while, but you've got more games for your ogres to actually pick up skills and more times to do casualties. It's quite a short league trips, isn't it? The tournament one.
Yeah, I think it's 6 games, 1 every 3 weeks, and then into the playoffs. So I shall be hoping to skill up some high elves to get into the playoffs and see you there, hopefully, Ben.
Do you reckon the high armor of the high elves helped you out a bit?
It definitely did. I think I got very lucky. Adam bust quite a bit of armor, but he rolled a lot of snake eyes when it came to injury rolls. So a stunned
Something
elf.
I noticed immediately playing Elven Union from playing like high elves is like, wow, armor 7 sucks or 7+ sucks.
Armor 8+ and 9+ is the same difference as 2+ and 3+ rolls in game, right?
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, it's like so many 8s get rolled. And you're just like, yeah.
But I really did enjoy the versatility of going, my elves are in the wrong place. I shall just roll dice until they arrive in the right place.
Yes. I've experienced you playing elves as well now, Trips. So even if that was Elven Union in 7s, because Trips came over last night and we got a couple more games of 7 Super Series in, which has been great. I'm a bit gutted Milton couldn't join us tonight because there's obviously some controversy around a couple of turns in game 2 between him and myself. If you haven't seen that, do go watch it. There's a big play and also a game state that it's been interesting to see everyone's comments in the chat about that. I kind of caught up earlier while I was on a call. I was like, oh, okay. Milton was right. There's some people who are jolly upset. And I mean, he was expecting the abuse for the play that he made. Even though I think it is a very reasonable and understandable play. But there was a game state issue that affected everything. It's been really interesting to see the controversy, and I'm like, it's just the same as in the NFL when someone misses a foul, when the referee gives someone a foul or something. It's just
skills are option in Blood Bowl. He could have just chosen not to use it.
Yes.
Well,
yeah.
There is an element of that. Anyway, I've got a couple of bits in chat. The Artful Blood just says, had a great game with Ogres the other day. Had Rumbelow and the Black Gobbo. Yeah, he was amazing. In a league game against Underworld, 2-2 and a crazy game. Turned on 5 1s in a row. Terrible for the opponent. That'll do it. Then my dice went hot, leaving 2 players on the pitch. Wow. Looking forward to Ogres this week in the 7th Championship. They're so good. So much access to stars, and the Ogre Belly spell is ace. Do you know what? I love the fact that we've got the Ogre Belly spell, but I have yet to get it to the pitch. I think I love the idea of it. Because, one big line basically across a pitch, just murdering everybody in a row. That's the dream. You think you ran the chain lining, didn't you, Ben?
Yeah, the Skaven one. I think it's the same thing, really, isn't it?
Well, the fire belly just you pick a line basically, and everyone gets hit on a 4+ in along that line. There's the chain lightning
I
one.
think that's the same as.
Oh, really?
I think that is
Chain
the same.
lightning can continue forever and ever as long as everyone's close enough.
It was the warp lightning. I think it is just a sideline to sideline line.
Oh, fair enough. But
What I
yeah,
remember.
I mean, I like the idea of it a lot.
It wasn't great. It wasn't great. It wasn't game changing. I think I'd rather have the 2+ lightning strike than still.
Oh,
you
yeah.
kind of know is more likely to do something.
That's well, yeah. Now that's gone. That's sad. Skaven next with a high TV difference of 600k. So running ogres and with 600k of inducements. Gee, just Morgan Bomber, Papa Z, how you doing? Anyway, so yeah, we've had some good games, and hobby wise, well, I think we've all done quite a bit of hobby as well, haven't we?
Yeah, I was trying to think what I did, and then I remember what I did do.
Yeah, we've got very cool evidence of what you did do as well.
I don't know if we've done that, because I was going to talk about my Warcry board that I made.
Dude, I forgot about that. Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah, I just randomly decided to make a board for Warcry, which using the old Argos photo frame. I think that's a Warhammer trick.
Was it a photo frame or was it a cork pinboard?
Oh, sorry, a cork board.
There you go. I was going to say the cork pinboard is the Warhammer trait. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I think it's up to £18 now, but for something that's literally the size of a Warcry board, like with an inch on each side, basically. Yeah, it was awesome, and used up some leftover sawdust finally from my table that I've been keeping in the vacuum cleaner. Kind of bulked it out a bit, covered it in.
I'm going to use that one with Tiff next time I don't empty the vacuum cleaner. But no. Ben said I need to keep that for basing materials.
Sawdust maybe, like dust and dead spiders maybe not.
That's pretty Warcry, I think.
Yeah, that is true actually, and it's for the spider gang. So, but yeah, it's a volcanic board I've done. So I covered it in that, built up layers. I did some kind of cracked rock with cork that I kind of blended in, and then I covered it all in tile grout, and then sprayed it with glue. Covered it all in more tile grout, sprayed it with glue, more tile grout, sprayed it with glue.
Has it dried?
Only because I didn't really have sand. Yeah, that did dry, and it dried like a rock. It's fantastic. And then I went for a resin pour for the lava, because I'm kind of doing like a volcanic. I think they've got a Games Workshop name for it. I think it's Varanite. It's lava.
TM. Yeah.
And yeah, and yeah, I did. So I tried polyester resin for the first time, mixed with some acrylic ink, and that is still drying, and it's been at least a week, I think, coming up to a week. I think I started on Friday. It's still drying. It's like I could lift it upside down now. It's not going to pour everywhere, but it's like sticky. So I don't know if I got the catalyst ratio right, because you've got to like pour it in a catalyst and you kind of got to like eyeball it. It says pour in 3% catalyst to resin, and you're just like, how do you do that? Like, that's impossible. The stuff doesn't pour. Like, it's not like water. You could measure it. It's like it comes out like goo, and so you can't really accurately measure it. And then with the catalyst, I'm there with a pipette being like 3%. Maybe. I don't have scales accurate enough to do that, and yeah, so I just eyeballed it. Yeah, so fingers crossed that dries and goes well. But once that's good, once that's done, it'll be good. Take that to club and play some Warcry. So yeah,
you can't beat a pitch or a board. You can't. There's just something about building terrain, stadiums, blooming Space Hulk strips. You know, that's just that's just the gamer dream, I think.
Oh, definitely the way to go. Definitely the way to go. I've been continuing the Necromunda Kill Team board print and build. Started assembling the board. I can say thank goodness I had 1 million clamps from the woodworking to use, because it was tight, let's put it this way, putting the clips together, and yeah, definitely needed all clamping, but going together awesomely. Quick bit of spraying, get some color on it, and yeah, now already at the stage when I need to actually start planning it out, because it's working really well. So yeah, we'll be continuing with that over the next few weeks. a mix between print and then stop piling up plastic and assemble it into groups.
That's a big old project.
That's so
That
cool.
is, yeah.
And the last bit of hobby for me is I built a Lizardman team and painted it, and printed it, and printed the bases. So this is, can I get it on camera? Left to right is higgledy-piggledy. I went with Brute Fun, and people keep saying that I paint my stuff too dark, so I painted them bright orange. Really, really, really quick paint job. It's certainly not very good, and I don't think it's going to look very nice on the PTZ cams on Thursday night, but it's ready. We've got a Lizardman team ready to go for the live stream tomorrow night, which I'm super, super, super excited for. The sevens one we did was a ton of fun. Also a ton of fun. And getting to try out the new Zon roster on the pitch on a live stream on Thursday. If you're listening to the podcast when this comes out, it will have already happened. So just jump on to the YouTube and watch it, because I have no doubt it will be a really good fun game. Have you guys decided who's playing what yet?
No, I haven't. Can roll a dice if you want.
No, we have not, but seeing as they are your Amazon team, Ben, I think you should probably play the Amazon team.
Oh no, that's a lot of pressure. Okay. I'll play them and forget all the rules. Sounds good.
Well, that's it. That's it. It's gonna be a friendly, chill game where we can explore some of the new Amazon skills. And I think when it comes to the first hit and run, we'll have to probably talk that through. When it comes to, well, at least defensive won't be important for a long time in a league, for example, until someone starts getting guard, or unless someone brings Estelle, the new Amazon star player who starts with guard. I'm impressed with Estelle. Really think she's going to be popular.
I think she'll definitely be the piece you want to get in with Amazons.
Yeah, 190k for a dodge step guard piece that comes with a spell is pretty good. Like, I'm sold. I'm sold on Estelle. Got a couple more bits in chat here. Warp Lightning can earth itself, so not quite the same. Art for Blood just said, had a giant against Chaos Chosen, but with all the dodge tackle on, Run Below wins for me. Yeah, tackle works beautifully. Blood Time is the homeopathy mixer. 1 drop is all you need in the 3 liters of water. Lizard looked good from here. Cheers, Papa C. Paul says, my next job is to paint my new Kickstarter Succubus Sylvan teams. Yeah, Rick has dropped those off for us to do an unboxing review. So when I get back from holiday, that'll be one of the first ones we did. Karen said, I also just built a Lizardman team with a Croxagore, then built a Yeti and Dribblesnot since they were on the desk too. Stevie! Nice to see you like the Frog Lady now. I do like the Frog Lady now. I still don't massively like the model, but we've got the new Grebo model on the way again to review, so I think I'm going to be a bigger fan of that one. Started painting my orcs as Karen. The Warton greenskins. NFL Washington colours. Time for you to take command. Bless Washington. They've renamed the Washington football team to the Washington Commanders. And
I do remember this.
Yeah.
Which is a good move, let's be honest. It's a good move.
It's a good move to a different name, but
it's a good move to a bad name.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It was, yeah. Yeah, definitely. But they did an interview with like their new quarterback, and he was just so non-committal about it. He was like, "Looks like it's time to take command," and everyone was just like, "That is cringy." And his investment in it, poor Carson Wentz's investment was just so minimal that it just went down a treat. So he became a meme for a bit, and I love it. And
that's brilliant.
The NFL podcast I listen to loves to just play it as often as possible. Because it is quite bad, but it's cool. Stevie, oh, how big are the blockers next to the other models? Oh, dude, we'll come to that in a minute. But yeah, it's an interesting one. I've got to say, the Amazon models are actually really nice. So I'm painting them up at the moment, and they are in fact very nice Games Workshop models. I think you did call that, Ben, that as far as like unit models, if they were unit models, this would be a sweet looking unit. I think that was you anyway, Ben. Maybe I've just invented
it was
you saying
yes.
It was you. Good. But yes, I tell you what, I think we probably gassed enough about hobby. We're all pretty excited to talk through Amazons. So I think we should move on to the Amazon Spike and whatnot. Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so Amazons have finally been released. When was that? It's like 3 months ago now. The preview was out. It was about 3 months. That's a long time.
May have been at least 2020.
Ben was in secondary school.
It was just after our
previewed.
tournament.
It
was the weekend of our tournament, I think.
Yes, it was actually, wasn't it? Yeah, because yes, I avoided that. Luckily, I took all the camera stuff. Anyway, we have got our hands on the Spike and, quite honestly, a few of the Amazon teams. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk through it. Now, by now, you've heard about the roster, you've heard about the star players and everything, and if you follow us on YouTube, you've probably seen some of the videos that cover it. But this is a podcast, so we are going to spend some time talking through the changes, talking through the rosters, because it's quite a change. So we've got the Spike magazine here. I've not had a look at it yet. I'm hoping that we can pick this up on camera all right. I know we've got our faces in the way, but I've just figured it would be worth going through. Nice bit of Zon art there with the lizard man, which I quite like the look of. How many pages is this one? This is 36 pages, which I do the unboxings and stuff, and then they just stick next to my desk, which is exactly the same as the Norse one. So I imagine it's the same kind of thing. Right, this is the most important thing here, which is the roster. So the new Amazon roster, enhance. There we go. I'm probably going to get too distracted playing with the camera on this one, so I need to not do that. We'll play with the cameras tomorrow. So 0 to 16, Eagle Warrior lineman, 50k, movement 6, Edge 3+, strength 3, passing 4+, armor 8+, dodge, primary general, agility, strength as secondary. That's exactly the same as the old Amazon guys, right?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so no change there. The Python Warrior throwers, 80k, movement 6, strength 3, edge 3+, passing 3+ BT. So they're just as good as your nobility mateys, which is obviously really important. How much is the nobility thrower?
Like 700k. No, I think he's 95.
That's crazy.
75.
The thing is, is it the wrestlers that are 95?
The Blitzers 105, isn't he? So Python
Blitzers
Warrior
105, Bodyguard 90.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Python Warrior throwers, 80k, 633, 3+8, dodge, on the ball, pass, and safe hands. I think this is kind of where I want to start talking about these guys, because passing. What's the two most important elements for a thrower, for a quarterback on your Blood Bowl roster? What would you say the most important things to make a decent thrower is?
Passing 2+, picking up the ball.
Yeah. Which is
obviously. I'd add being alive in the second half as well.
Yeah.
I feel like that's quite important for most players. Yeah. So passing. This has got neither of those. So you've got passing 3+ with pass, which is okay. I mean, to be fair, in the olden times, passing 3+ was as good as it got for a lot of teams. Now it's as good as it gets for like one player on every team. But on the ball and safe pass. Now, safe pass is a high elf skill, right, guys?
Mm-hmm.
And you've both played high elves. So safe pass, is it a useful skill?
No, not on someone with passing 3+. If you have passing 2+ and cannoneer, it might come up. It's something that really annoys me about the skill. It's only good in a really bad situation, which you can completely avoid.
Well, safe pass is the one where if you fumble, you keep the ball, right?
That's safe pair of hands. I think safe pass, isn't that the one where you have to throw over people?
Isn't that Cloudburster?
Where you have to reroll failed interception. Oh, that's Cloudburster. Sorry.
Safe pass is...
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
God, there's so many skills that sound the
same. You had me worried then. I was like, oh no, I've done the Amazon videos all wrong.
No, I'm just an idiot. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, the high elf guy's got both Cloudburster and safe pass, isn't it? So
That's where I got confused because he used to be the one skill, didn't it?
Yeah.
That was safe pass.
Yeah, and then they made it 2 skills and gave them both to the same player.
And kept the name of the old one to half of it. Yeah, it's very confusing.
I know, not expert, but yeah, Trips. That's what the skill is, isn't it? If you fumble, you just retain the ball.
If you fumble, you don't fumble. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have had that come up in a game before where I played against them. I don't know when it was, but I don't think it was against either of you. But I've played against a team where they've had safe pass. I think it may have been a random or something, and I blatted the ball carrier rolled a 1, and I was immediately like, yes, here we go. Like we got a fumble situation here as a high agility coach. Like this is like the best thing you can see is a double 1 in the backfield when you're Skaven, because that's my ball now. But then they were like, oh yeah, safe pass, I just retain it and everything's fine. I was like, oh, that's so aggravating. It's a really interesting skill for this player to have. Like I don't know.
I think if it counted for wildly inaccurate as well, I would love it. I think where it's fumble is like I kind of wish it was just like a veto. Like if you fail a pass, you can choose to hang on to it, which might be really strong, as in like wildly inaccurate or fumble, basically. Like throwing inaccurate passing and missing and getting a turnover, that's totally fine. Like you can't avoid that. But like if things go bad, you're just like, nah. Because fumble, sometimes it's just like, sometimes fumbling's okay. It's the wildly inaccurate that really can screw you over.
Yeah. Sometimes fumbling is just fine.
You kind of plan for it usually, especially when you're on passing 3+.
It's a little bit like a half skill, and it's interesting because you get 3 base skills with them, and safe pass is almost like a little tag on that. It's not going to come up very much. It's not going to get used very much, but it is nice having it.
This positional looks like Ben was running it in League and just kept taking random passing skills.
Yes, it does. 100%.
Well, safe pass,
on the ball is great.
I was going to say, dude, safe pass is going to be really, really helpful every now and again. Like literally 1 in 36 throws, it is going to save you from a disaster. But on the ball, I absolutely love this skill. Chameleon Skinks have got it, and I was going to say it's underrated. It's not like the best skill out there, but those 3 extra squares on kickoff are phenomenal. This player is essentially movement 9 on the kickoff, or passing 2+ on the kickoff if you take those 3 extra squares of movement into consideration when making your pass. That's a really good skill. Did you end up with OTB on your thrower, Ben, in your league?
Yeah, really handy. Really, really handy.
I used to take kickoff return on my Skaven throwers of old, and it was just awesome because you just get that free move. Maybe, 3 squares. If you're in the middle, if you're on the sweet spot, that's 7 squares squared, like 7x7 area of the pitch where your guy's going to be under the ball, and you're going to have a free, as far as this player's concerned, a free 4+ to catch the ball. So it's not quite as good as sure hands, but it can be. You got that mobility, and then when and if your opponent does make that pass, you get 3 free squares of movement. Now, you've got to dodge and things, but all of the players on this roster come with dodge. So I think having those throwers, and it's not just a case of, oh, they're making a throw, I can now move my guy to get in the path. No. It doesn't say that anymore. They make a throw, you get to move your guy 3 squares, which means you can redeploy, which can be really, really, really massive. So they're wrapped up with general passing as primary skills and agility and secondary as agility and strength as secondary skills. I think they're going to be. I think they're going to be really good. I don't know if you need 2, but because on the ball works in defensive passing, it might be useful.
I think you'll end up with 2, very much like the Norse Valkyrie, because you're probably going to end up with them being targeted. So actually having 2 alive and on the pitch at the same time in a league might be quite tricky. The advantage of having two as well is you will really be able to set up and cover an entire backfield for the kick. And if you are playing in a league with other passing teams, then yeah, having two of these is going to enable you to cover a lot more. And you've got a really good flexibility when they start to skill up as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is it. I was talking through some of the skill packages for these guys, and in like a tournament, leader's going to be really useful, but Amazons are cheap enough. You might be able to be all right with it. But quite frankly, you kind of got two routes, right? You can go accurate and create a passing 2+ piece immediately with on the ball, or you go block and then you've got a blodge runner, a blodge thrower. I mean, they're going to be really good, I think, really quickly. They're not going to be amazing without a significant investment, but they are going to be really good. So I think they're going to be some of the best tier 2 throwers in the game. Oh, I'm going to start separating the throwers by tier so they can all be the best thrower in the game. Caron says,
like them. Yeah.
All the players with OTB move 3 on the kick pass. Just the pass. Only one gets to move, I think, on the kick. But everyone gets to move on the pass, I believe. Might have to check that in a second. But yeah, no, I think that's going to be interesting. Or BT's got the rule book.
I'm on it.
I've never had more than one OTB player on the pitch. And then
it's one open player with a skill on kick.
Yeah, so one for the kick, but everybody with the passing until one of them falls over, and then it kind of gives you like a mini blitz, which is going to be quite funny. And it's going to come up every now and again because, like, I think that probably, I don't know if that triggers for throw teammate or not, but it shouldn't probably, but it could be funny if it does. It's another throw action. Okay, so the next positional is the Piranha Warrior Blitzers. These guys are 90k, movement 7, strength 3, edge 3+, passing 5+, armor 8+, dodge, jump up, and the brand new shiny skill, guys, hit and run. What do we think about this? So the hit and run trait, after a player with this trait performs a block action, they may immediately move 1 free square ignoring tackle zones so long as they are still standing. They must ensure that after this free move they are not marked by or marking any opposition players. Players must keep up payments or you may lose your house. Is basically... So it says block action, and the community at large... is reading that as a blitz as well, because a block action is part of a blitz action. So
it usually specifies if you can't.
Exactly, which I think is really fair.
Yeah.
Exactly. When I first read it, I just immediately went, "Oh, it's blocks, not blitz," and then the internet destroyed me a little bit. And a fair cop, to be honest with you. Fair shout. I mean, no block on this compared to the blitzers of old is quite big, quite a big deal, I think. And being replaced by hit and run.
Yeah. I still love these players. I love this. This is like, so this, I think, sold the team to me as being way more interesting. So my first comparison were the in the Wear team, the secret team.
Yeah.
All your linemen are like this, where they're all movement 7, armor 8+, jump up. They don't have dodge, but they're edge 2+. So you essentially have these like pieces which, in the wise words of Chumbawamba, they get knocked down, they get right back up again, and you can just keep going, and you don't lose momentum with them. And it's so valuable to have that, especially from the get-go. It makes your team so rapid. Like, Amazon's originally really slow, and even this team not massively fast. But when you put this in, I think that really does change it. The hit and run just saves them as well. So where the cat struggled was, sure, you can bait people, but when you get punched, that's it. Here you can like punch and then just like get out, and it saves you having to use the dodge if you don't want to. It just gives you so many options. It gives you extra movement. I just love it. I really like them. They're really interesting.
A big shout out's got to go. Someone did comment on the videos. I'm so sorry, I forgot who it was, who said these guys can be amazing if you get +2 movement to them, so they become movement 9. Then you give them sprint, and basically you can block off the line of scrimmage and then move at that free square after the block. So you declare a blitz action, punch, move into the open, and then 12 squares ahead is the end zone. So you can just one-turn touchdown using it, which is awesome. I think we worked out that it's like 50 SPP or something.
2 stat ups, yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's great. But no, Ben, I mean...
They're going to be a touchdown scorers, so it might not be unfeasible.
They are much, much, much faster. And trips, I mean, I know that you love jump up, being a Norse madman.
Yeah, well, I think jump up it makes them really flexible. You're going to see them all over the place. The thing I really like about the Blitzers is that you can only have 2 of them, because they are going to be awesome pieces and they are going to hog SPP like you wouldn't believe. But you're not, if you're facing 4 of these, you're going to get quite sick of Amazons quite quickly. But just 2 means there's a bit more thinking that's going to have to go into how you use them.
I like that. And we have gone from 4 Blitzers down to these 2 fast Blitzers who, with their general and agility access, I think should realistically be called catchers. I think with that fast...
I was going to say... Yeah, sorry. The first skill I take on them is catch, hands down.
Well, it's catch or block, isn't it? Block is the technically correct choice, right? Because then they can be used as blitzers, and it's going to keep them alive. But because they've got that agility access, if you want to go fast Amazons, and I'm kind of hoping that we see a bit of delineation between slow Amazons and fast Amazons, where that thrower gets passing 2+, or gets accurate early on, and then both your blitzers take catch, and then actually you've got some rapid, like quick pass, quick sprint game. And that could be, like Trip says, actually a really successful way to score a lot of touchdowns. And spoiler alert, it's probably how I'm going to play them. Because, you know, why not? They're movement 9. They're movement 7 on the board, but they're movement 9 with a reroll. So, boom. Movement 10 using hit and run, which is just tasty. And then sprint, movement 11.
Yeah.
Blah. Then all I got to do is save up 50 SPP for +2 movement. And, you know, going to be one-turn touchdowns with... the particularly peculiar model that is the blitz catcher. And then, as Trip said, we've gone from 4 blitzers to 2 fast blitzers and 2 slow blitzers with the introduction of the Jaguar Warrior blocker model piece. 110k, movement 6, strength 4. But no agility penalty at 3+, with passing 5+, armor 9+, and dodge, and defensive. Now, I think we can all agree that defensive is a bit of an edge case skill at the beginning of a league, but I think when you're playing against those guard heavy teams, defensive turns off a base contact guard piece in their turn. So if you are in base contact with another player from the opponent's side with guard, on the guard player's turn, they don't get to use guard. And these girls have got general and strength. So, Trips, I believe you're a big fan of Strength 4 blodging pieces?
Definitely a big fan of Strength 4 blodging pieces. And I think defensive will be a good tournament skill, because we see quite a lot of guard in tournament. What's really interesting for me about these is these are as close as you're going to get to a big guy on this team, despite the miniature. But having edge 3+ and dodge is going to give you a lot more flexibility with how you use them, because they're not just going to get stuck in the middle of pieces and not being able to get away. You will genuinely be able to reposition these to where you need them.
I mean,
it's quite scary.
Yeah, I mean, I refer to them as Griffetters, but if anything, they're just Carlas. They're just... Because Carla Von Kill is move 6, strength 4, edge 3+, with block and dodge. All right, these guys don't have block to begin with, but they're 2 touchdowns away from getting block. And quite frankly, who is going to stop a strength 6, movement 6, strength 4 player that often with dodge? Because this is it. This is the most aggravating thing, and this is where defensive comes into play. To get a good block on a strength 4 player, you either have to have a strength 5 player, a strength 4 player with assist, or some strength 3 guys, probably with guard. Well, the guard doesn't work, and if you can get a 1 or 2 die block against the blockers, they've got dodge as well. So it's just going to be so aggravating to pop these guys down anyway, and once they've got a touchdown and MVP, or two touchdowns, that's it. surely it's straight to block, and then you are strength 4 blodgers, and then you've kind of got this really interesting dynamic where you've got an all right thrower, 2 fast blitzers, and 2 hench blitzers, where you've kind of got this, I can slip by you using a clever use of the hit and run and my dodge skill and my movement 7, or I can just punch through you with my Lavano kills. It's so exciting. And you get
those. I think having a strength 4 blocker as well, who can do something with edge 3, means you've got a runner. If you want to play a slower game, if you need to hold out, it's not a bad piece to give the ball to and try and not give the opponent too many turns to score.
And they actually can get the ball with the edge 3+. Like there's just have so many options. It's such a powerful piece. I think this is a strong contender for like one of the strongest players in the game for the get-go. Like this is genuinely frightening.
Well, this is the best stat line in the game.
100%. Mixed teams are looking spicy.
Yeah. From a stat block point of view, movement 6, strength 4, edge 3+ is just brilliant. Obviously, you'd want 2+ instead, but like from a fairness point of view, you've got
looking to gift horse.
It's pretty awesome, and they come with dodge, which is something that all of those blocker positionals cannot take unless it's a secondary skill, and they just kind of get fronted it up. So you've got your Ulfwereners trips, who are edge 4+ anyway, and to get dodge they have to save 12 SPP. Bull Centaurs, edge 4+. Chaos Warriors, edge 3+, but movement 5, and dodge is a double. So these guys are special. But do we talk about the model right now, or should we talk about the model in a bit?
Let's talk about it now.
All right, let's talk about it now. Let's have a look.
Out of the way.
Let's have a look at the model.
The elephant in the room, or rather, the diminutive elephant in the very large room.
So this is. Let's see if we can upset the camera a little bit. 1, 2. This is the blocker model, the kind of Wolverine pose, right? And
audio listeners, apologise.
Yeah, I know. I'm waving. So. We've got the Amazon team here. I'm trying my best to use the slap chop method to make them look like absolute garbage, sadly. I've got the Ulfwerener here as well. So those of you who are watching on YouTube, the patrons are on a live stream. The Ulfwerener was a small strength 4 piece, right? He was basically the same size as the rest of the Norse roster. Amazons are appropriately slighter than your average Blood Bowler because they are just built that way. They've got dodge. They're supposed to be designed to be, live, and that's fine too. But the strength 4 piece is exactly the same size as the strength 3 piece, and because they're crouching, it's even smaller. So if you take the Ulfwerener and put them against it, the Ulfwerener is crouching a little bit as well, but they just look really small. And from like a top-down profile point of view, they look small as well. And then you bring in a mummy who's supposed to be strength 5, and you're like, I'm not sold. I'm not sold on the strength. I think got a wood elf here as well, because it is my desk, and we've got a nobility thrower here as well. And the nobility thrower versus the Amazon line woman is bigger, which is all right. They got armor. He's got more armor. That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then compare this blitzer blocker to the nobility guy. I don't see strength 4 here. I do not see strength 4 here. And I know it's going to be fine because you know what? We had this with nobility, right? Didn't we? Where we were like, well, I'm never going to be able to tell those different pieces apart. Like, who's the blitzer? What's this? Who's this guy? But I don't know. I guess I was expecting something a bit bigger. And the fast blitzers, they're fine. Like, size-wise, they're okay. They're smaller than
They
Wood
look a bit
Elves.
more hench than the blockers.
This is my...
Because when I first saw the team, I thought they were the blockers.
We all thought that. Like, from the stream, from the Games Workshop stream, we were like, oh, they've got them the wrong way around, and that's what the delay was. But no. So you have to watch out. The blockers are actually the strength for crouching tiny tiger people, which is going to be interesting, I think, and it's going
I
to
guess
throw
the
people out.
claws don't give you claws, but rather more strength.
Strength 3,
Maybe.
Dauntless Claws. Yeah, all right. I see that. Movement 7.
That's what that model looks like.
I see that.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, interesting one. So they don't look what like I expected them to look. The team is lovely though. The models are really nice. They're a little bit complex to build, but they're not unbuildable. So they're fine. You've got to glue a couple of faces to hair, which is always appreciated. Games Workshop. Tab. But it's okay. It's sustainable. We can do it. But yeah, from a model size, I know Stevie in chat asked, that is the size difference. He says, in fact, Stevie says, got some ideas on bulking them up. Going to be harder than the Ulf Snow. Yeah, I mean, I've got some bases prepped. I'm going to have to try and use like lifts in the shoes. Like we're going to have to give this the French president routine to make them a lot bigger, I think. Anyway, Papa Z says this Amazon team basically deserves to always face dwarfs. It's an interesting one. So
Yeah,
the last
rough.
two things, 60k rerolls, so they've gone up a bit. Special rules, they're Lustrian Super League only. They're getting Apothecary and they're tier 1. Do we think tier 1 is about right?
Yes, I 100% agree. I think when they first dropped these, like the rules in the community page, I was just like, that looks solid tier 1. Like solid tier 1. Too many skills, these become just so dangerous.
And I think that starting with dodge everywhere and having some strength, you can flexibly play this team however you want. And if you can flexibly play a team however you want, they're a tier 1 team.
Yeah.
I can't disagree. I'm just trying to think like, okay, there's some bits missing there, but actually the whole roster is good. Each one of these players is pretty good. And I guess before we kind of delve through a couple of other bits in the spike, including the cool new star players, what do you think, Ben, of the adjustment to this roster? Because, you know, you've got and have beautifully painted a nice Amazon team. To see it change from 4, and you played Amazons in 7s, didn't you?
Yeah, the sewer bowl.
Yes, yeah, you did. So, what's your take? Is this a thumbs up, thumbs down situation?
Thumbs up for me. I really like it. I think the roster is interesting, which is the biggest thing for me. Amazons were so boring. The players are way more defined, and you build them way differently. It's not. I don't think it's as simple as taking block on everything. Yes, that's still going to be very, very good, and your line women probably that's what you're going to be doing. Yeah. However, I don't think it's as simple now with the positionals. The losing 4 blitzers, that just wasn't fun. So that's good. Like I said with the blitzers, I think they give you, and Ian touched on this as well, you just have the flexibility now. You can do what's needed rather than just the one trick that's really, really strong. Yeah, still think they're really, really strong.
I still think they're really, really, really strong. I think you've clocked it there for me. They are way more interesting. Like you can build some of these players in different ways. If you want to go run heavy, then you do go block even on the thrower, and actually you go strength 4 block, thrower with block, catchers maybe with catch, do something different. If you want to go fast paced speed, you can actually put catch on those catchers with the thrower and do some stuff. But I mean, Trips, what's your take? Is this a good thing for you? You going to be sad to miss all the blodge guard spam?
I don't think many people are going to be sad to see Amazons change. And I think, as Ben said, this is an interesting roster. I think we saw it within our group. Everyone saw the roster come out and went, ooh, you could do this and that. And that's good. I like the slight raise of the rerolls because you don't want an Amazon coach stacking up 3-4 rerolls pretty easily. And that that the roster flexibility in terms of what is an Amazon team at 1100, 1150 going to look like, you don't automatically know what it's going to look like now.
Yeah.
And will the team be fun if you take random skills on it? Yes. And I think that's such a big part of Blood Bowl 2020 is that random quick skills up. And I think Amazons who take some random skills will be good fun.
That's really
they're going to be pretty powerful. And yeah, you're going to have bad days when someone actually breaks all that 8+ armor. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing them played, and I'm looking forward to playing against them.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Sorry, one more thing. Good. I really like that the line women are still 50k. That's awesome. That's cheap. Very cheap, which means that you're not going to get stuck in debt because you will be losing players.
That's fair.
Skaven price line.
I think given the fact that the Norse players didn't change cost as well, there might have been a little mini riot if they'd gone up in price.
I could see them being 55 or 60 though. 60 at a push, but 55. Like dodges are really strong skill to start with, because aren't the Norse ones 60?
No, they're still 50k.
Are they 50 as well?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, yeah, that is surprising. I'm going to join the riot.
Yeah.
Grab my pitchfork.
Yeah, Norse are OP, so, I mean, what can you do? So, now, I think it's important that we kind of reflect it on both sides. On the one hand, you know, we're excited because it gives the roster some differential. But on the other hand, there's a couple of things that I think have got a little bit, not necessarily missed, but to start this team with League or with a low skill environment, yeah, you've got loads of dodge. You don't have integral sure hands. You don't have any block. So you are it is going to feel weak. And I think if you get drawn against a block heavy team in the first kind of 6 games of your life, it is going to be hard going for Zons because, like you said, Ben, you're going to lose some dudes. And your blitzers are great, but they're only strength 3, 8+. And if you lose a blocker early on, like strength 4 is a great combat skill of its own, right? But if you lose a blocker, you are kind of punching a bit and you don't have a lot of offense. All you have is 3++ dodges to position to give you vanilla dice, which isn't going to be automatic. Like there's going to be some hard work sometimes, I think. Oh, sorry, I got a bit of a cold now, which is just in time for my holiday, so that's good.
Yeah, you say that, and yeah, if you come up against a team that's going to smack you around in your first couple of games, that's going to hurt. But they've got access to a star player or two that you wouldn't mind taking that would really help. And with those cheap linemen, and you're likely to not just be grinding a 1-score game, the way you can rapidly up your money in 2020, you can buy back players. We can see when coaches lose a Rat Ogre in game 1. Doesn't take that long to get it back.
Loves bringing that up. And my second point was that while I think it's definitely the right thing to have only 2 each of those positionals, the problem with this roster is the same a little bit, the same as the old one, which is you buy it all really soon. There's the only choice you have here from an Amazon building of a roster from a league point of view is, do I go with 1 thrower or 2? Like that's basically your only choice. You're going with both the strength 4 pieces. You're going with both the movement 7 pieces. There will be Amazon coaches out there who don't bother with the thrower at all, and that's fine. But that's your only point. The cool thing about nobility, and Ben, I know you've lived this, is there's a couple of different ways to start your team. Like, do I go ogre build? Do I go max bodyguards? Like, it's really interesting. But this roster is one of those, like, I take everything and then I've got nothing left to buy, which is something that dwarves suffer from as well. But
yeah, I'd have really liked to see 4 blitzers. I think that would have given you that speed angle.
Yeah, tough one. With all that hit and run, it could have been a bit riotous. It's an interesting one.
But yeah,
I still maintain.
Too bad.
I still maintain they should have had a catcher piece, same stats as the blooming human catcher. would have been really. And then you could have gone with a couple of different builds. But I mean, this is still way more interesting, and you've got players that you can develop in a couple of different ways. And hey, the fact the rerolls have gone up, you do get some choices. You know, is it the 2 reroll max positional build? Is it the no throwers 3 rerolls apothecary? Like, there's a couple of things you can do, but by the time you're 1100, you've got everything you're ever going to want. And I don't know, that's something I guess we see a lot of. But I think Norse trips, you don't really start with everything you want to start with, right?
No, with Norse, you're definitely picking what you're trying to save for. And there's, again, a couple of different versions of it. I think we see that in the teams where there's that extra positional, or there's a big guy as well. It's you can have everything but no big guy. You can have a big guy and you're missing 1 or 2 things.
Yeah.
And an apothecary feels like a dream down the line.
I think I might just be pining for a big guy for this team. But that's fine. That's fine. They do get access to some decent star players. I think Zug is a pretty good one. Right, let's have a little bit of a look through the rest of the spike. You've got the Hall of Fame team. Estelle's actually on the team. That's exciting. They're Piranha, Warrior, Blitzers, Dodge, Hit and Run, Jump Up, Sprint, Strip Ball. They've put Leap on an Edge 2+ Blitzer. Interesting. That's the dream ones. Okay, first star player is up, and it is Estelle Levino. My English is questionable at times. My non-English is beyond questionable. I love the. All right, this is the star player previously known as the Frog Lady. Had a great comment on one of the videos. They were like, Ben, I watched this video and I was like, who the heck is Estelle? And then I realized it was the Frog Lady. I was like, yeah. So the Frog Lady, 190k, movement 6, strength 3, edge 3+, passing 4+, armor 8+. So 9-woman stats. Skills wise though, disturbing presence, dodge, guard, sidestep, and loner 4+. Which is an awesome stat line, and Baleful Hex. Once per game, at the beginning of Estelle's activation, choose an opposition player within 5 squares and roll a d6. On a 2+, the chosen player loses their tackle zone and cannot be activated until the opposition's next team turn. Until the end of the opposition's next team turn. We are going to assume that the end of the opposition's next turn means they cannot be activated during their next turn until after the end. But that's going to be FAQ'd probably in May next year. So that's what we're going with. That's what most of the hubbub seems to go, because it lines up nicely with some of the wizard spells we've seen from Dungeon Bowl. So yeah, 190k for a dodge, step, guard, disturbing presence piece that once per game on a 2+ just boneheads somebody for an entire turn. How are we feeling about the Frog Lady?
So I really like her as a star. I think we'll see this star more than the other ones, definitely for Amazons.
Yeah, this is really powerful. I mean, that spell is good. That spell is really good. And if that was on a wizard, that would be 150k. And so for 40k, you're getting those stats and those skills. Yeah, that's really interesting. I like this a lot.
Just knocked half the Amazon team onto the ground.
I hope that noise is just bases, but no.
No, that was the team. Yeah, I think it's the College of Life spell. The chosen player is grasped by vines and cannot be activated during that team turn. Additionally, the player has no tackle zone until the end of the next activation. That's kind of the vibe. It's definitely worded better for that.
What, here?
No, well, here in the Dungeon Bowl rulebook, you know exactly what it can do. So I was thinking that actually that was the thing, because there's a fair chance that this skill is going to come back and they're going to be like, oh no, it just means that they have to be the last player that's activated in that turn, which means nothing really for most cases. So if they do come back and FAQ that, then she's going to drop down from being really interesting to a expensive guard piece, which, to be fair, in the Amazon roster, I think is really good. Now she can only be taken by Luster in Super League, but This is now the second guard star player. Ivar Eriksson, while not being as good as Griff, block guard was still really aggravating trips when we played.
Oh yeah, I think any star player with guard is really, really worth it, and particularly if you are taking a star player because you are down on players, giving you guard is really boosting the players around it and helps you try and get some SPP on not just the star player you've induced. It will mean you get your star targeted, but who's not targeting a star player when you're playing against one anyway?
Yeah. Dot Military in chat said if they're tier 1, you won't get a huge amount of skills to help in tournaments, but star players will be good. This is definitely a star player that will help your team. I mean, even with that spell alone, like Ben said, like Wizards 150k, this is a spell you would probably pay 150k for, because on a 2+, it just, you time walk your opponent. If they're about to score, 2+, you don't get to score. Like 2+, you have to leave that ball carrier in place. Or 2+, I just bamf the guy and walk straight past into the end zone. It is once per game. And hey, ones happen in Blood Bowl, right? But just to be able to have that, and then if it doesn't work out, you still have an extra lineman who's got guard, and Disturbing Presence is going to come up as well, and Sidestep. Like, she's going to die as quickly as anyone else, but I guess Dodger's going to keep her alive. But that guard piece is just, it's just a spell that comes with a useful journeyman.
Yeah,
I think it's awesome. And I think I'm hoping we'll see her at SCA in one of the Amazon rosters, because 190k, very affordable. You drop a reroll, that takes your roster down to 940. You take her, and then you probably have to drop a spare player. But actually, at that point, you've got 12 players with her. You chuck leader on your thrower, 2 rerolls plus leader, plus some block on your team, plus Estelle. You know, it's going to allow you to play your team, which I think is really good. Because I mean, Trips, you're a big Griff boy. But Griff owns the game. I think Estelle is one of the best supporting star players we've ever seen.
It's particularly that price range. I think that's a price range that is, unfortunately, with the amount of bashes, that is the kind of price range you will be looking at if you are having a bad couple of runs.
I love this art. We've got an Amazon Blitzer giving a noogie to a Witch Elf. Which is actually really cool. I
really like the Blood Bowl art. It's so good.
Brute Fun is in chat. Brute Fun, he says, that model, though, with a squinty face. Yeah. I'm really hoping we see some nice models as alternate sculpts for all of these star players. Now, I know that Brute Fun is a very busy chap, making some very good models, but... Yeah. Rain in chat also says, I completely agree this team looks great for random skills. The dice gods might show a skill tree that you weren't thinking of. That's a really cool way to think about it. He says soon. Yeah, I think that's a really interesting one. I mean, we've kind of seen that in this league, right? Where you're taking random skills and actually it's been like, oh, that's cool. Oh, you know what? Pro Frenzy on a Black Orc Goblin is pretty good fun. I've got Frenzy Wrestle now as well, which I don't think is going to... I think having 2 Frenzy Goblins on a Black Orc team might be subpar, but we'll see. Anyway, good art. Do like that. Whoa, wrong way on the camera. There we go. Let's get that centralized. Before we move on, Jen says, I think it's pretty good the Games Workshop seems to make the new teams more in line with the other more average performing teams instead of trying to match the strength of the strongest performing ones. I agree. Let's think about the last teams that Games Workshop have introduced. Black Orcs, Nobility, Necromantic Tweak, Snotlings, the Norse Tweak, the Amazon Tweak. None of them are like, what the heck is this? A mess in one way or another. Like, Black Orcs are a really fun team to run. Nobility are a really fun team to run. They're not brilliant, but they are a fun, different starting point. And I think the Amazons kind of fulfill that role now. And the same with Norse. Like, they they nerfed the linemen a bit, but that was probably a really good thing. They still do the thing they do, but they're just ever so slightly nerfed. Alpha Runners didn't change, the Blitzers didn't change. The Valkyries were a great way to represent the fact that people only took throwers in tournaments for leader and never, and they, you know, otherwise it was just the catchers. So they did a really good job. Khorne was a great roster. Not overpowered, just really interesting. They're doing a really good job.
Yeah, different and interesting. Yeah. That's a really good point, actually. Really good point. I think Amazon's. I don't know if it's just because it's new and you sort of like you don't have the data to back it up and you kind of theory craft in your head of the best case scenario. But I think like Amazon's to me probably feel like the strongest of the bunch. I think I look at this roster and think that's pretty powerful. That's like 3 skills away from being really, really oppressive. Which is basically block and whatever you want on your blitzer. Yeah. So yeah, I think they're really strong, but again, I don't think it's like these are going to win every tournament for the next 6 months.
Yeah, it's like this is this is going to be a really strong team. It's going to take some positioning because the standard line women are really vulnerable. So actually, you've got 2 pro blockers, and the rest of the team's fair, which is kind of like that's fine. This is not Hackflem level, and this is not Leagues of Votan level. So that's good.
Possibly meta changing. Will we see more tackle?
Yeah.
In people's rosters.
We're surely going to see tackle all over the shop in a tournament. It's probably the best skill out there for tournaments right now because you've got Hackflem, you've got Mad Lads running stunties left, right, and centre. Tackle is just an absolute brilliant skill. Couple of good things in chat. Papa Z says, "Dunno, the frog is quite good on the model. Not sure about the lady though." Stevie says, "Can't wait to get my frog lady." Brute Fun says, "One thing I'm not a big fan of with the Games Workshop's direction for the last 2 teams is the introduction of unique traits. Kind of feels like a departure of the core concept of Blood Bowl's universal skills." What do you think?
Fair point.
That
it brings in this element of bloat. It's Blood Bowl thrives in the fact that it's a tight core rule set that everyone kind of knows. When you start bringing in these random stuff, I do agree it can be pretty confusing. I don't think it really had to be there. I don't think it really needed it. I think it's interesting for sure, and it would have been awesome as like a skill people can take like from the new edition. But I do kind of agree with Brute Fun here.
Yeah, I agree too. I mean, Trips, I think you and I talked about it last night when we played Sevens. The great thing about Blood Bowl is that the action takes place on the pitch. That all the fun decisions, all your interactions take place on the pitch. And I don't want to be bashing 40k even more, but I think it came on the back of that conversation about 40k Trips, wasn't it? Like, so much of that game is spent reading rules aloud like a wizard, which is definitely an allure in and of itself. I mean, right?
I've got that behind me for people on camera. So this, hang on, let's move these. This is Blood Bowl, and this is what you need to play Horus Heresy. Both of these. So, yeah, it does exist. The bloke does exist.
Yeah, it's a fair shout. I agree with you. I think seeing these skills introduced as skills that could be taken, I mean, Ben, what do you reckon for hit and run? What skill tree would it be in?
Probably agility.
Yeah. I like that.
Because I think it'll be really strong for people with like strength access. So yeah, I think agility players could make use of it.
But
elf blitzers would really like it.
Oh yeah, exactly. Oh blimmin', jeez, sidestep, hit and run, crikey.
Yeah.
Oh, you can do well. Actually, you can do that with these guys. I mean, I guess we got to be careful of being the. Now I'm going to be on brand here. The frog in the pot that slowly gets boiled to death. Like at the moment, Blood Bowl's great because you need the rule book, and then if you want to play a team that's not in the rule book, you need the spike. That's it. That's all you actually need, and the FAQ obviously. But that's it. That's free, and you can download it. As they introduce more rules, there is going to be more getches, I think, which is like, and I think Amazons are probably going to be the biggest one for that. Which is going to be a case of, I'm sorry, what does that guy do? Like, hit and run works how? Like, I didn't know about that. That's weird. What is that? Like, the beer bores were definitely game changing, but incredibly ineffective. It's kind of like, and on a 5+, my guy gets to stand up, and you're like, oh, that's pretty cool. But this is going to be a case of, yeah, well, I blocked you, now I get to move, and it's like, well, you're the only person in the game that gets to do this. So yeah, I mean, it's a fair shout. Chat is with Brute Fun on this one. Papa Z says, yeah, I think if it stops here, it's not too bad, but knowing Games Workshop, we can end up with different levels of rules and counter rules and discussions about which rule beats which. So definitely one to watch. Quite frankly, if they do squigs and introduce squig rules for squigs, then I will love it anyway, whatever rule they introduce. But with vampires being the rumored next team, do you think we'll see bloodlust introduced as a trait instead of animal savagery?
I would like that more, I think, because it suits them. I think that's fine, because bloodlust is kind of unique to vampires.
That's fair, actually. Yeah. It's an interesting
I don't
one.
think hit and run is something that's particularly unique to Amazons. Seems like something players can learn.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of glad not to see like a snake swarm or anything for this team. As fun as that would have been, I kind of wanted the thrower to have stab or something to kind of represent that snake, but I mean, safe pass is probably less impactful on the game. We've got another star player here. We've got Glottal Stop, 6 movement, 6 strength, edge 5+, passing nothing, so watch out for Bomber. Armor 10+, Animal Savagery, Frenzy, Loner 4+, Mighty Blow +1, Prehensile Tail, Thick Skull, and Stand Firm. With Primal Savagery, which I flippin' love. Once per game, when Glottal fails an Animal Savagery roll, hit an opponent player instead of a friendly player.
Oh, that is fun.
How good is that?
That is amazing.
The dream turn of him just losing his head and just knocking straight up armor rolling an opponent. Is it armor roll? Is it Animal Savagery, or is it prone and armor roll?
You knock him down. Prone.
It's prone and armor roll.
Yeah.
Ooh. And then just gets to do whatever the heck he was going to do anyway with strength 6 and frenzy. This guy is an absolute house. I love it.
Super multiple block. Yeah. That is really cool.
That's going to be one of those moments when you go, oh, I've rolled the nega skill. I've rolled the nega skill.
Yeah, exactly. This is going to be a case of, it's a 1, but actually I'm going to pop my feet and just chomp you instead. And a little thing in chat here, Brute Fun Crocs coming this December. Yay. I like that. I had a great time painting up the Brute Fun Lizardman team this week, and I've got a nice Croxigor over there on the table as well. I'm looking forward to these guys being on the pitch tomorrow night for the live stream game. Glottal Stop, the downside of him, right, is he's 270k and he only plays for Lustrian Super League. So he's 130k upgrade for a Croxigor, which is a lot, but you do get extra strength and you do get frenzy, but no combat skill means that you're paying an awful lot here. And it saddens me to say this, but you are better off using the model as Zug, I think, because at 220k he gets block and strength 5. So I love this. I love his special rule. And if you ever take him, you are going to have so much fun, I think, but he's going to let you down.
I still think, though, a beat-up Amazon team that suffered a lot of losses in a league would probably get good use out of Glottal, because it's a real threat. Like, it will catch you up. Like, if you're playing against like a Renegades team, this guy's out there killing all of them, and like he doesn't even have to roll for some of them. Like he could go and like base, blitz someone's carrot, like someone's other dude, and then base the Minotaur, and then fail his savagery and kill the Minotaur
and take them both
without
out.
having to block it or something.
The Limited Resources Magic the Gathering podcast would call that best case scenario mentality, but it is going to happen at some point, right?
You could choose to move him and get him to go for a 1, 2, 3, like go for the 50-50. If you just say, I'm going to move him, not block or blitz, and then it's a 50-50 to knock someone down.
There's some great
it's a
stuff.
4+.
I love it. Brute Fun says that feeling when lizards get a cool new star and you'll never be able to afford him. which is bang on the money. Rain says vampires will have the brooding skill. Roll a 2+, or you lose all tackle zones and 1 strength while you question your humanity. I think that might be a little Twilight skill there. Stevie says, I think he said, absolutely see Bloodlust coming back. I could just hope it gets a bit nicer. And Papa Z, if your squig starts the turn next to one of your players, that character gains leap +2 until the end of turn. I cannot wait for squigs. We've got to have squigs. We've got to have squigs. I love Glottal Stop. Trips, can you ever see him being used?
So I think for me, the price is you'd have to be in a bad way to take that much star player. Now, admittedly, I've played with teams recently that were in that bad a way. They had to take a 280 star player, but it's a lot in a single star player. I think if you can, you probably will. You won't look for a cheaper combination of stars. It is a great star player. I just think you might find that Amazons don't quite drop that TV as quickly as possible, because even though they don't have block, they've got a lot of dodge, and that will keep them out of trouble for a little bit longer than a team with no skills in the block.
Just kind of flipping through the rest of the spike here. They've got rules for jungle leagues with weather. They've got rules for a Temple City kickoff table, which is going to be fun. I think at some point, guys, we've got to use some of this stuff in our games. The Amazon...
just need a temple pitch, don't we?
Well, genuinely, the second it lands as part of that Mud and Blood Kickstarter, that's being printed. That's
nice.
That's it's just too cool not to have. Although I'm a bit dubious about whether some of the bigger 40mm bases will stand on the steps. We might have to have a word with him and be like, you need to double up those steps and bring them down 2 by 2 instead of 1 square by 1 square.
Yeah.
But hey,
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Right. Go through the rest of the spike. You've got Secret of the Amazons. You've got Team Development. What do they recommend? Block for Eagle Warrior. Block, kick, dirty player, wrestle, tackle, fend. Python Warriors. Oh, don't do that, guys. They've put the positions here, but they've put the fancy stupid name instead of the positional thing. So they've put position, Eagle Warrior, Python Warrior, Piranha Warrior, and Jaguar Warrior. They've missed the actual positional bit off it. Stupid. Absolutely stupid.
The Jaguar Warrior is the blocker.
Yeah, but that would be like the Skaven roster being like position, Skaven, position, Skaven, position, Skaven. Yeah. It's like, oh, brilliant, cheers. Like, but even worse because you're giving them fancy names. So lineman, block, Python Warrior, the thrower, block, sure hands leader, dump off nerves of steel. Where's your accurate? Come on, guys. I mean, to be fair, block and sure hands is potentially the right thing to do, but I mean, hey, Piranha Warrior, Blitzer, block, wrestle, tackle, sidestep, diving tackle, frenzy, strip ball, very much geared up to be blitzers.
Not even a catch.
No catch. Jaguar Warrior, block, guard, mighty blow, break, tackle, frenzy, tackle. Like that, like block, like guard, mighty blow. You're probably not going to get to take it on this positional. Because they don't start with a combat skill. I think block is definitely the first thing. Then guard, because it combos so nicely with defensive. Then, I don't know. I mean, at that point, I guess you could take Mighty Blow +1 if you wanted to. Break tackle's pretty good when you've got dodge already. That's a 2++ into the open, movement 6, strength 4 blodging piece at that point. I would probably go that way if I'm going to use them as my scoring threat. But even not, block, guard, then break tackle to be that 2+ into the open mobile guard piece that has defensive as well. That's the skill is renamed from a defensive to offensive when you get that player into that situation. I think that's why the game has fouling. Just want to put it out there. You all hate gutter runners. I think you might have a new target, which makes me ever so happy. Got some setups, and the last star player. Come on, camera. Zoom. Oh, wrong way. This way, and therefore I need it to go left. Oh, I got it right. Oh, too far. Too far. Too far. Got excited. Right, Boa Constrictor is the last star player for the Amazons. Movement 6, Strength 3, Edge 3+, Passing 4+, Armor 9+. So a little bit better armor, but otherwise the same stats as a lineman. Dodge, Hypnotic Gaze, Loner 4+, Prehensile Tail, Safe Pair of Hands, and Sidestep. And Boa's special power, his magical ability, is once per game if he starts his activation next to the ball carrier of the opposition. On a 2+, he yoinks the ball, and that's it. His activation ends. So he does have Sidestep, he does have Dodge. He's got Hypno Gaze, so he can run in there and take away their tackle zones. Then you can run in there with your Strength 4 Bleece and punch things instead. Or, if you find a way to block their ball carrier next door to Boa, before you do anything else, you can just activate Boa, and on a 2+ once per game, he just robs the ball. I mean, he's 200k, which is quite expensive.
It's quite expensive for that one-off skill, really, isn't it?
And so that when do those scenarios ever come up where someone's left their ball carrier in base contact with a start player?
Yeah, I think it's a shame that he's got Hypno Gaze, because you kind of, I don't know, like every now and again it's going to work and it's going to be awesome, and you can definitely set up some chain pushes and things like that to make it happen. But again, to use limited resources, the Magic the Gathering podcast thing, setup cost is super high on this. You need to find a way to get him in contact with your ball carrier. Now, with Sidestep and Dodge, trips, Sidestep, Elven Union Blitzers. Oh my god, right, Snotlings. Okay, this is a perfect example. Snotlings with Sidestep, really aggravating, and they will get right where you need to be. So there are going to be some times where you can do it, but for the chance of a 2+, for then his activation to end, I think it would have been quite scary if it was a 2+, he robs your ball, then he can do the rest of stuff. That would have been like, oh my god, this guy's horrific. Like sometimes he's just going to be 2+ next to the ball carrier at the start of his activation, rob the ball and run away. Now, he's got safe hands, safe pair of hands, which means when he gets smacked after that, you get to choose where the ball goes. You get to sidestep and then put the ball somewhere safe. So it is all right. But I don't know. Like, for 200k, he doesn't really give you a lot.
No, he really doesn't. I'm kind of surprised he's more than Estelle.
Yes. This is a skill set that I think is worthy of 150k, maybe. If he had block or wrestle or tackle, something. So the thing is with Estelle, guard with sidestep, useful all of the time. There's always a reason to have a guard piece. Hypnotic Gaze can be really useful. Okay, that's going to be really effective. Maybe I'm underrating Hypnotic Gaze here, where actually he can take a corner off a cage and allow you to kind of blitz in, maybe. I think Hypno Gaze is going to be effective, but isn't that a modified agility test? So he's Hypno Gazing on a 4+? 3+?
I think it's unmodified. I think it's 3+.
There you go. It's all right. There are definitely going to be some really good circumstances where that's going to work. I just don't know if he gives you enough every single time.
Yeah, if it was Edge 2+, I think that would justify the cost a bit more, and it gives you that player who is Edge 2+, so he can kind of be your catcher or something like that if you wanted it. Like, yeah, he is awkward. He is awkward to fit in.
Yeah, you might see someone try and squeeze it in a tournament roster, but as Ben said, if you could try and squeeze this in, why are you not trying to squeeze Estelle in?
Yeah.
Yeah,
because this model's cooler.
This model is much cooler.
Yeah.
But this is the great thing about Blood Bowl is, as long as your star player looks different enough, it can be whatever you want it to be. You can bring a Minotaur and be like, that's my Glottal, stop. You can bring a cool wizard model or the snake dude and be like, actually, Boa Constrictor, it's Estelle. I just prefer the model. Okay, Gents in chat agrees. He says, I think you take him for Hypno Gaze. With fast strength 4 blitzers, cages don't seem such a safe place anymore. That's fair. True. Move up to the side of a cage, cheeky 3+ Hypno Gaze, take away a tackle zone, and you just bounce in there and smack somebody down. It can be really effective. So maybe I'm underrating Boa. I think maybe he's
It's also, but it's not a sure thing with that 3+. Like, that's just really kind of like. I'll say this as someone who makes 3+ dodge every day, but like,
I'm just going to say there is an episode of 7 Super Series coming out, Ben, that you are going to love.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
That is exciting. Yeah, awkward player. Cool model, awkward player. Pass.
Yeah. Yeah. Trips, would you second that motion?
Absolutely. I think if you can take 170 and get guard in, I'll do that every day. And the fact that it gives me spare cash as well, can't see me ever trying to get that model in.
Shame. I love the model. So it's interesting. I think the last bit in the spike, apart from the cool comic book, is the College of Heavens. So this is an interesting one. The entire roster goes to the College of Heavens. There's no there's no split. Yeah. There's no nothing. It's just straight to the College of Heavens for everybody on this roster, which is, I was not expecting that. I mean, we do love Dungeon Bowl, but I don't know about this one.
That seems really lazy.
Yeah, it seems lazy, but I think we might see the extra few College of Heavens teams at the next Dungeon Bowl tournament now.
Heavens was already good.
Quite a roster to pick from.
Yeah, it was already had loads. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, College of Heavens was excellent. Like, you had all the Sauruses.
Is it the human blitzers or something? Or was it nobility blitzers?
Yeah, nobility blitzers.
Did you get them? Yeah.
Oh, you know what?
Who have catch?
I've got the rulebook here. College of Shadow, College of Metal, College of Light, College of Death, College of Light. Oh man, I love Dungeon Bowl. College of Heaven.
Pretty sure it's saw a skink with nobility blitzers and
skinks, Norse linemen, Norse blitzers, Norse berserkers, human thrower, Saurus blockers, chameleon skinks, and the Valkyrie, and the entire Amazon roster.
All right. I mean, the really cool thing about this, like, technically now for Bonehead Bowl, you can take 6 Jaguar Warrior blockers to Bonehead Bowl and play it in 11s if you run a College of Heavens roster. Which is like, that's awesome. 600k.
There's a lot of players with a lot of starting skills now in the College of Heavens roster. I reckon if you sit down and really work it out, you can have a bashy team that can pass and run as well, and that feels
they've got the human thrower.
Feels right? Nasty. They've got the human.
They've
thrower
got the actual human
thrower,
thrower, not the nobility thrower. They've got they've got the good one.
The best player from every team, and then the whole Amazon team and the whole Lisbon team.
They don't have a Croxagore. They don't have a big guy.
Oh no!
Did they get a big guy yet? Or is
amazing stuff?
Is that the next team that comes out? I love the human thrower Imperial Nobility Blitzer combination. I think that's awesome. But 4 Piranha Warrior Blitzers. Who are a different cost here.
Really?
They're 85k. And oh no, what is this? Oh no.
They want FAQ. It's coming soon.
Jaguar Warrior Blockers, 110k in the roster. 0 to 6 Jaguar Warrior Blockers for the College of Heavens, 100k. Piranha Warrior Blitzers, College of Heavens, 85k. 90k for proper. The Python Warrior Throwers, 80k proper, 75k College of Heavens. I don't understand what's going on.
That feels like the roster got updated and someone forgot to update the Dungeon Bowl table.
And forgot to maybe split them into a new college.
This is outrageous. For Bonehead Bowl, like, we've got mixed teams or normal teams, or you can run a Dungeon Bowl team, and we're playing 3 games of 11s. Mate, discounted Amazon team with 6 blockers and 4 blitzers and a human thrower.
Yeah, if you're running Amazons in a tournament in Bonehead Bowl, don't run College of Heavens.
Yeah.
And you save yourself like 50k.
600k for that, and then 80, 170, 340. That's 940k. Rerolls for the colleges are 50k. So let's take one reroll. That's what, 990. You need to take a thrower, then leader for your second reroll, 1100. 4 Piranha Warrior Blitzers, 6 blockers, and a human thrower. Oh, that is just like S tier. That's amazing. Although, to be fair, none of them do have block. But they all have dodge.
Not until you start giving them the skills package.
Yeah, exactly.
Papa Z in chat. It's almost like Games Workshop don't check their books before release. Luckily, this has never happened before.
No, first time.
Brute Fun says, everyone dust off your dwarfs team.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you know what? I'm so glad I read through this with you guys. I don't think I would have noticed that. I would have been like, oh yeah, this plays for this plays for this, which means I would have gone and done that College of Heavens video very wrong. So that was useful. I mean, the Amazon team for 11s is interesting. The Spike's got some cool rules for leagues. It's got some thematic stadium rules. Got the ball rules. You got the star player rules. I love a Spike magazine. I think they're good fun. Like, I will always buy them, and I always encourage people to buy them. I haven't read through the thing I always check through though, which is the famous teams. I love looking at this, and it gives me inspiration to kind of be like, for the different teams that are out there. That's one thing I always love about all of them. It's a shame there's only 4 of them. So that is the Spike magazine. I just want to, I guess we kind of covered the miniatures, haven't we? They're good.
Yeah.
They're a little bit fiddly. A couple of them have got separate faces to the hair, and the neck joints are a bit ropey. The models are a little bit slight, like Wood Elf scale, I think is probably the best way to describe them. But they're nice models, and they paint up okay. So it's cool. It's a cool team. The only thing I haven't done is check out the pitch yet. So let's have a quick look at the pitch. I've got to do a proper unboxing for these, but I didn't have time today because got in from Entoyment. I had a lovely chat with Pete. It was nice. SCA is actually SCA Blood Bowl on the Saturday is the biggest tournament on the day. We've got more players than 40k.
Woo!
Which
Wow,
is
nice.
amazing.
Good going, everyone. Everyone's got a ticket.
Yeah.
That's really awesome news. We love to see that.
And I did the maths on the drive home as well with the players we got Saturday, the players we got Sunday, and the amount of games we're playing. It's like nearly 300 games of Blood Bowl, I think, or 200 games of Blood Bowl that weekend across those 2 days. So there's you, Ben, saying you don't have enough
That's
data.
good.
And we're like, well, someone's going to bring Amazons. There's going to be some Amazon teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm bringing Amazons as the backup. So
Yeah, that's both exciting and then slightly terrifying from the making sure we can add all the scores up and get that working right.
Yeah, I mean,
something I've just seen. Sorry, this is really off topic, but just while I see it, it says Estelle is from the Bayou. Isn't that like a place? Or is it like a term?
I think it means swamp, doesn't it? But
I thought it was like the Bayou. I thought it was like an actual region.
Well, that's
in like Louisiana.
Yeah, that's New Orleans, isn't it?
Yeah. But hang on.
Princess and the Frog category. We can tell you've been watching there.
Exactly. Oh, what a movie. I know it's a body of water typically found. Yeah, it's like a swamp. Okay.
That makes sense.
My bad.
I've given her frog lady nature.
Yeah. Princess and the Frog lied to me.
Oh, I like this. This is of a nice colour. Zoom out a little bit more. A little bit more. You can see all the glue and stuff on my table. That's fine. Go this way. Whoa, too far. God, we're gonna have fun with these cameras tomorrow filming the game. I guarantee it. Whoa. Wrong way. Can't do this upside down. That's my lap. No one wants that on camera. Okay, so we got the dugouts here. There's 2 sides to the pitch. Probably should have read the rules, shouldn't we? As they always give the description of the pitch. overgrown jungle. You have the jungle floor and the torrential downpour. Now, that's just one more thing to remember. A bit worried that it's not all that clear, but actually, how does it look on the camera other than pixelated because my internet's garbage?
Yeah, it looks kind of clear to me. It looks kind of like, just from this glance, it looks a bit like the Wood Elf one.
That's what I'm thinking, yeah. Oh, there's a lot of cool detail on it.
And most of the pitches, they've got one side which you put a load of green-based miniatures on them, and you have not got a hope in hell of seeing if they're in the squares or not.
I was thinking we might use this
Yeah,
pitch
that's
tomorrow, but I'm not sure. Let's put the Saurus on there. The squares are
that
okay,
works.
I think. Yeah. So we've got the soggy side of the pitch and the jungly side of the pitch, which is
Got swamp and jungle.
yeah. All right, it's quite nice.
Pretty
It's
cool.
it's quite dark. It is quite dark. It's I think it's the same kind of palette as the Snotling one that I've been using in League, which is a little bit on the dark side, but I don't know. It's quite cool. It's not as cool as the Lizardman pitch, which I do think is probably the coolest pitch they've brought out so far.
Yeah, that one's amazing.
The
that
Dark Elf one's pretty good too. Maybe we should do top
Kind of
5.
boring, but I also like the original, like the OG grass. I think it looks really good.
OG Grass.
It's really boring.
Is the
The
best
OG
one.
stone for me.
Are you a stone guy? Yeah.
Yeah.
It is super clear.
It reminds me of the Astro Granite pitch.
Yeah.
I ruined mine with polystyrene
Just
cement
polystyrene.
to make it look all
Oh,
damaged.
no.
Yeah, when I was a child and was allowed to play with a ton of polystyrene cement. I don't know. I think I sometimes like
Enjoy the fumes, Ben.
Tiff will be like, "Oh, did you used to do this as a kid?" And I'm like, "I don't really remember anything before I was 11." And then I think back to the amount of like rhinos I used to build in my room with the windows closed and everything. I'm like, "Oh, this is probably why." Because of Humbrol. Because of Humbrol, I don't remember my childhood. But I mean, you can't knock it. Okay, guys, I think we've talked ad nauseum about Amazons. I am really excited they're here. I'm really excited to be getting a game in tomorrow night. Well, observing a game, which is going to be really good fun. So I think, is there anything else you guys want to touch on the Amazons?
I think that's it. I'm just excited to get, playing with them.
I think, yeah, very much the same. Excited to see them on the pitch. So glad that they are actually coming out, and they have just made it into SCA as well. So I really hope we see a couple of rosters with them on the day, and be interesting to see how they do against a set of varied teams as well.
And there's going to be a lot of it's a new team, so you're going to be piloting a new team and you're going to be playing against a new team, which I think is going to be really exciting. And before we wrap up, I do want to ask you both a question. Will we see, Ben, another team this year?
October, no. Because if they announce it, it's not going to come out. Even if they announce it like tomorrow, it's not going to come out for another 3 months. So, yeah, probably not. Not in my opinion.
Trips, what do you reckon?
So I'm a big Alamac fan, and you can't really have one of those with 2 teams in. So they need to get another team out for January for that to come out. So I think we will see an announcement this side of Christmas, but the team will slip into 2023.
It's such a shame they're not doing anything in for Warhammer Day, isn't it? They're just doing it about 40k. Because I don't know what else. I mean, to be fair, they might just be like, hey, we're doing a Warhammer preview in a few weeks' time for Christmas releases. I mean, I need to go back and kind of look at when they announced Dungeon Bowl, because I feel like that was quite late in the year, and Dungeon Bowl landed in late November. And then 2 years before that, the Ogres turned up in December, didn't they? So there is still there's still a chance. So you're telling me there's a chance? Oh,
Dungeon Bowl was 30th of October.
What? That it was announced?
Yeah, it was on Warhammer Day.
Yeah, because it was announced and then came out really quickly afterwards.
Oh, but they're not announcing anything on Warhammer Day this time, are they? They're just doing guns and rulebooks. Sorry,
Yes.
I made myself laugh on that one. All right. Yeah, shamelessly. Oh, bless them. Anyway, right, guys, we're going to wrap up. Patrons, thank you so much for joining us for our live stream. It was great hanging out with you. And I am going to go paint some Amazons, and then tomorrow we'll be back for a live game. So, Ben, Trips, thank you very much. It's always lovely to hang out and chat Blood Bowl with you guys.
Yeah, always.
Right, we'll wrap up. Thanks very much for watching. We'll be back soon with more Blood Bowl content. Happy dodging. There we go, folks.
I like the ending. Happy dodging.
Happy dodging.
Very good.
Well, I did get told on the thing, they were like, I think someone was like, I feel targeted or disrespected because I don't like to block, I like to dodge, and I think you're letting down your agility players. I was like, well, all right. Well, every now and again we're gonna have to chuck in the happy dodging then. Brute fun, cheers, Papa
None of my
cheers,
blocks are
Stevie,
happy.
cheers. We'll catch you guys a little bit later.